everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to the Manitoba Envirothon Wildlife Training Series. Today's episode is going to be on dental formula.
Hello.
Hi, so what we're going to do is we're going to learn the actual teeth in the skull. So I have a beautiful skull, it's nice and big, easy to see the teeth. So you're going to take your skull and you're going to open it up. Now, we're going to learn the different teeth. These ones in the front are called the incisors. Very exciting. They're on the top and the bottom. Next up, we have our canine teeth. Now, our canine teeth are only found in the jaws of species that are carnivores, which means they eat meat, which means they are predators. So, canine teeth, behind those, those are used, by the way, to pierce and kill their prey. Don't know if I mentioned that, but that's what they do. Behind that, you're going to have your premolars, and then you're going to have your molars. Now, a very important tooth you have to keep in mind. It's called the carnassial tooth, and this is the largest piercing tooth that you can find aside from your canines. And it's going to be in the back, it's going to be in the molars here, and it's going to be the large shearing tooth. So, if you're wondering, hey, what the heck is she talking about? You can put your jaw together and you can go up and down like nom, 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 nom. And you're gonna find the teeth that shear the meat together. So they get really, really close like scissors when they're gonna cut. So this should be pretty easy for you guys out there to see that the carnassial tooth is this one down here as well as the one up here. So there's one on the lower and one on the upper. Okay, so we have our carnassial tooth. We have our canine, incisors, premolars, and our molars. Keep those in mind. Okay. If you don't have a species that's a carnivore, guess what they're not going to have? They're not going to have a canine tooth. So, this is my deer, and as you can see, he doesn't have any canine teeth over here, so you wouldn't count any of these. So, just to show you the difference between having canines and not, another example. Don't go anywhere. No canines. Obviously not a carnivore. Give me one more. Oh look, he's got canines, so he's a carnivore. So, just looking at the teeth, I can tell simply which one is a carnivore or possibly an omnivore and which ones are herbivores. Okay, so next up what we're going to do is we're going to actually learn how to do the formula. So we're going to have to go to the whiteboard for a second so you guys can actually see what the formula looks like. Okay, so to our whiteboard, we have this very complicated looking formula, which isn't complicated at all. The I represents our incisors, C represents our canines, P represents our premolars, and the N represents our molars. So in this dental formula, what happens is you mark down the upper jaw on the top of the fraction, and then on the bottom is the lower jaw. And you simply put in the number of each incisors on the upper jaw and the lower jaw, same thing, canines, premolars, and molars. Now, one thing you also have to keep in mind, not to make things more complicated, is that you're only going to be counting half of the jaw. So when you look at the upper jaw and you're counting the incisors or the canines or the premolars or the molars, you're only counting half, okay? Keep that in mind. So when you see this on the board here, it's 3 upper incisors and 3 lower incisors. That means that it's only half. 3 on this side on the upper half and 3 on this side on the lower half. Great display, I know. Okay, so this dental formula, just to show you guys, belongs to this skull right here, which we know obviously has canines, so it obviously belongs to a carnivore. This is a lynx. So what you'll do is we're going to write out the formula, and then what you have to do is you have to add the upper jaw teeth together, which is 7, add the lower jaw teeth together, which is also 7, times it by 2, because there's 1 for each, add up all the teeth together, it's 28. So, we'll go through this. Don't freak out yet. Okay, so let's do it with our nice, big, very visible jaw. I need a pen. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so what we're going to do is now figure out the dental formula for our mystery skull. So we have the eye for our incisor, and we're going to figure out the top jaw. So our incisors, remember we're only counting half. We have 1, 2, 3. Our next is our canines, which we have just one of. We have our premolars next, and this is where your carnassial tooth is going to come into play, because that large shearing tooth, when we find it on the upper jaw, counts as a premolar. So do not forget that, because the upper carnassial is a premolar. Upper premolar, remember that. So premolars, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then for our molars, we only have 1, 2. Get to our bottom jaw. Our incisors, we have 3. Canines, we have 1. Premolars, now this is the other tricky part with that carnassial, because this carnassial tooth, when it's on the bottom jaw, it represents a molar. So whereas on the upper carnassial is a premolar, the bottom carnassial is a molar. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 premolars, and then we have 1, 2, 3 molars. Make sure that you fully look at the tooth and don't confuse a tooth, mistaking it for 2 teeth when it's a full individual tooth. Sometimes people may get confused and think this is 2. No, it's 1 large tooth. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at that. So we have the first step of our dental formula, but we're not done, because what we have to do is add our upper teeth. So 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. And our bottom teeth, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. And remember, this is only half. So what you're going to do is you're going to add your top and your bottom. So we have 21, sorry. So 10 plus 11 equals 21. So that's the half of the teeth, but we have to multiply by 2 because there's 2 sides. So we go 21, we're going to multiply it by 2. So then that's going to give us 42. Okay, so our dental formula will look something like this, and we will have our final number should be there. So long as I can see that you have clearly got every single spot identified, your incisors, canines, premolars, and molars, you've added them all up, and then you have multiplied it by 2, that is what I want to see for a dental formula. So sometimes I may just ask you to identify the dental formula and nothing else. I don't care about what species is, I simply want you to count the formula out for me and tell me what it is. But I may say take it a step further and identify what species that is. So you'll get a sheet that will have the dental formula here, and it'll actually have the numbers out here of the total number of teeth. So we know that we have the correct formula, and we have the number of teeth is 42. So you'd look for your total number of teeth, 42, and it'll list many different families that have 42 teeth in their mouth. So Canis is one of them. So because I know that, what I can do is I can go and I look in the different families, and I have a handy dandy skull plate, and this belongs to canids and bears, which is from Canis family. So I look in here, I'm going to look at my skull, I'm going to compare my skull visually, I'm going to look directly down at it, see if the shape, I'm going to measure from the back of the skull to the front of the skull to determine the length, the width, get all of the information I can to then see which one it fits on the skull plate. So once I have that information, I can determine that this belongs to a wolf. So all of that information together will determine what species I have. So you just have to practice, try different skulls, check out the skull plates, and the dental formulas. Practice makes perfect. So there you go, dental formula.